All right, it's a new university year. I'm starting year 5 of university. I figured maybe it was a good time to start something new on the channel as well. A new university year, a new game to be covering. Hello, Adma. This is the stream you've been waiting for. Hello, Mr. Harbonia, Sir. Hello, Adma. How are you doing today? This is actually a playthrough I've wanted to do on the channel for a while now, because I've been a content creator for almost as long as the Switch has been, an out and relevant console, but not the entire time. You see, I started streaming at the beginning of 2018, and the Switch released around early-ish March 2017. March 3rd, 2017, a day before I turned 18, was the case, and I picked it up then. So I wasn't a content creator for most of the Switch's first year of being out, like I was before the Switch was a year old, but for most of that time I wasn't a content creator yet. Which means that even though ever since becoming a content creator, whenever new games would come out, I'd be covering them. Well, new games I want to cover on the channel, at least, not ones I don't want to cover. But ones that came out before then, I wasn't able to cover right when they came out, like Breath of the Wild, like Mario plus Rabbids, like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which are probably my 3 favorite games from the Switch's first year after being out. So I always knew, like, okay, now that I'm a content creator, I figured back then around the beginning of 2018, this is a game that I'm gonna have to cover at some point, and I didn't know when. And there's always so many games going on this channel that I didn't know when to do it. I just knew I needed to do it at some point. Now, Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope was announced at E3 this year? Was it E3? I think it was E3 that it was announced at. The sequel to Mario plus Rabbids, so I was like, oh my gosh, it's an excuse to finally get around to covering this on the channel. Like, I played this way back, and I loved it. This wasn't 100% in save, but before I started the stream, that was in file 1, and I freaking copied it over to file 2 and erased the file 1 so that we could go into file 1 here. I really love this game, and I think we're just gonna hop into it without further ado.
All right, Beepo. That ought to fix the overheating problem. Can you believe it's been 3 months since Tech Magazine put me, us, on the cover?
The Super Merge takes item A and item B and combines them to create item C.
Ugh, if only it were that easy. The article says nothing about dark matter, space-time manipulation, practical applications, nothing. I mean, the Super Merge could solve the energy crisis, Beepo. Watch! Huh? Oh, not again. Oh, sorry, Beepo. Let's take a break and come back at this overheating thing fresh, okay?
I forgot how trippy the intro was. It's been a long time since playing this game. Also, it's worth noting, Mario went to go save Luigi, not Peach. That's an interesting bit about the intro there. This game is a bit of a trip. I'm gonna tell you right now. It's a little bit of a journey. This is a game that probably should not exist, but I'm so glad it does. Quite frankly. This game is quite literally an experience and a half. It's, oh my goodness. It has been many years since I played this game. Like I said before, I had a lot of hours in this game when it first came out, the main game. But I never actually got around to, playing the DLC for this game. And I've heard that the DLC was apparently pretty good. So when we cover it on this channel, it will be like the first time that I've played the DLC. So I've played like the main game. A few times, actually. I've done a full playthrough of it a few times before I was a content creator. Just because it's not a super long game, and it's actually hella fun. But I never actually got the chance to play the DLC. Because I think by the time that I wanted to start is when I started doing content creation, and then I was too busy doing other content creation stuff to do this. And I was like, I know I have to start from the beginning again and cover it on the channel. And now here we are several years later. So, it's a very weird game. Poor Goombas. So yeah, this is a crossover with Nintendo's IP of Mario and Ubisoft's IP of Rabbids. And the group that actually developed this was Ubisoft. Like, who would be responsible for actually making the Mario plus Rabbids crossover? Would it be the owners of the Mario IP or the owners of the Rabbids IP? The answer is the owner of the Rabbids IP. Ubisoft are the developers of this game. Those Rabbids, they seem driven to cause chaos and mayhem. More so than usual, even. Unlike our two friends here, they seem to have been corrupted by that Rabbid wearing the Supermerge headset. Could it be the Supermerge headset was corrupted on its way to this world? If so, we're all in terrible danger. Mario, we must find that pure Rabbid fused to the headset. He's the key. Save him. We might just save this world. So, World 1-1, Unlikely Heroes. So, here we are. So, interestingly enough, Mario, like the IP of Mario and Rabbids, is a crossover that could have been happening for a while. A shocking though admittedly hilarious example of the chaos wrought by the intrusion of our world into this one. The Goombas are just like stuck to the surfaces here and such. Like apparently Nintendo and Ubisoft were in the talks for a while about potentially crossing over Mario plus and Rabbids. And apparently Nintendo had essentially said to Ubisoft, okay, we give you permission to make a Mario plus Rabbids crossover on one condition. And that condition is you have to have Mario do something that Mario's never done before. And that's easier said than done, because Mario has done a lot of things. So Ubisoft had to brainstorm for a while, like, something that Mario's never done before? What do we want to do? Well, the answer. Thank you so much. A Nigerian prince has emailed me. Oh, what is it now? I've just received a message. Dearest Beepo, whose bravery, intelligence, and compassion stand as a beacon of hope for us all. If my timing is correct, you are in dire need of help. Please open the attachments to this message. Their receipt is most auspicious, I assure you. Signed, your biggest fan. It's been so long since playing this. Anyway, something that Mario's never done before, and it's Ubisoft. So the answer is, give Mario a gun. Ubisoft was in charge of having Mario do something he's never done before. So the answer was naturally, from Ubisoft, give Mario a gun. Wow, when the email said attachments, I thought I was like talking cat videos or something. So, are you guys ready to fight back? So, this is literally Mario crossed over with Rabbids with XCOM gameplay. Careful now, my sensors detect 2 enemies on the battlefield. One is hiding behind partial cover, so your chance to hit is 50%. The other is out in the open, giving you a 100% chance to hit it. You can cycle through targets with the left stick, press A to shoot the selected target. So, I haven't properly played an XCOM game before, but I hear that like one of the most frustrating things about XCOM is the hit rates that will be like all over the place for your chances to hit. So for this game, they have something like very simple. The chances to hit are either 100% if you're out in the open, 50% if you're behind half cover, or 0% if you're behind full cover. Like something nice and simple. 0, 50, or 100. There's nothing else. It's not gonna be like Fire Emblem where you have like a 90% chance to hit and it just misses. Your chances are either gonna be like 100 or 0, or you go for a 50-50. That's all it is. So, keeps it nice and simple, that kind of way. Mario / Mega Man, Mario Man, Megario. Yeah, that's what's going on here. So we'll go after the one in the middle here. So yeah, it's like a Samus arm cannon or like a Mega Man kind of thing, honestly. I think that this one is just scripted. Like, I'm fairly certain this is gonna for sure hit the cover. And then the second time it's gonna for sure actually hit the rabbit there. Like, I'm fairly certain it's just scripted like that to see, like, okay, sometimes it'll hit the half cover, sometimes it won't. So yeah, it wasn't anything brand new to the gaming industry. Like, it wasn't a brand new genre or anything like that. Like, it very much is kind of like a copy of XCOM. A game that I've never played before, but I've heard about from my professors in my game design class. During my tabletop game design class, we were talking mostly about board games, but also about video games. When we talked about, like, excruciating decisions, when it came to video game decision making, our professor talked to us about XCOM, and, some of the hit rates there where it's like, do you risk trying to hit this and potentially sacrificing one of your units, or do you try to do this other thing, and all kinds of other things. But yeah, D&D reference with the hitboxes, I don't know if it's exactly with D&D. Cowards. Now they're all buried behind full cover. We have a 0% chance of hitting them from here. We'll only hit their cover. We need to flank them. Move around with the left stick to position yourself for a shot with a 100% chance of hitting. So yeah, this layout is probably better there. Yeah, I have a bazillion tabs open that I'm probably just gonna wind up editing out later. Whoops. But essentially, something that I found very fascinating about this game is, compared to something that I usually play that's a tactical game like Fire Emblem. In Fire Emblem, you would have to move and then attack, or maybe you attack where you are, and then that's like the end of your turn when you do an action. In this game, you have movement, attack, and do like a secondary action that you get later. But what's interesting about this game is you can do them in any order. Like, I can attack from here, and then I can move, or do whatever the heck. Like, I can dash through this guy, get over here if I want to, or even just like right here, and then shoot him from there, easy peasy, is what I can do. So we can go ahead and do that right to the face. And there goes that guy. There goes that dudo. And this game also has a lot of interesting movement options if it'll let me do it right now. It does. Like, you can jump off of an ally and do something like this. Like, the movement options in this game are actually really good. It's actually very spicy. So I can boopity bop. Can I take them out in one turn is the question. Can I? No, I can't do a double jump thing. I think it's just Mario. Maybe Mario and Luigi that can do the double jump things, or maybe it's an ability you get later. I don't know. Let's hope this is a high damage range. It wasn't. Unlucker dog. Sucks to suck. Enemy turn. Unfortunito. Well, take some damage there from that. And then he's gonna move, since you can do that stuff in whatever order. But yeah, this is absolutely a game that should have just been like an easy 5 out of 10 quick buck kind of game that's just made as like a quick easy buck, like a crossover with, you know, a franchise like Mario. But this game is actually really good. Like, we're just in the tutorials right now. But trust me, it gets freaking hella good. And actually, like, you'd think that this kind of game would be, like, hella easy. And it starts out hella easy. But, my goodness, later on, it gets really crazy. Like, the main campaign usually doesn't get, like, too crazy. It gets pretty spicy, but not, like, super duper crazy. Some of the harder option maps, some of the stuff that's outside the main campaign, or, like, the co-op maps, oh my goodness, those are so hard. Like, in the main game, you have a team of 3 here, essentially, that you can customize amongst whatever kind of 3. Look at this over here. Recognize those blocks from the basement, and I hope they're more structurally sound after the super merge, but I doubt it. We gotta go over there. Like, the main campaign can get a little bit challenging, but not too crazy, so that, you know, kids and such can still play it. But, oh my goodness, the co-op missions is, like, some of the craziest tactical gameplay I've seen. It's absolutely nutty. So, in the main game, you have three allies. Leafy World, found a new IMF on there somewhere, you could check it out. In the main game, you have 3 allies that you play as in single player. In co-op, you play with a friendo locally, and each of you control 2 allies. You can change, like, back and forth for, like, who's controlling at a time. So because it's turn-based like that, you can still absolutely just play the co-op on your own and just have, like, 2 controllers that you switch between playing. But, oh my goodness, I used to play this with my cousin. And we used to literally just sit there thinking and, like, discussing strategies amongst ourselves for, like, how to get through the levels. Like, those co-op missions do not hold back. I don't know to what extent we'll be doing the co-op missions in this later, in which case I probably would just be doing them myself and, like, trading the controller to and fro. But, oh my good gracious, they're actually crazy. And so unless they nerf them since launch, which I kind of hope they didn't, they're actually nutty. There in the sky, see that? It began the moment the Rabbids teleported into the Mushroom Kingdom. The energy we've seen floating upwards after we defeat an enemy. I wonder. All the more reason to catch that Rabbid with the Super Merge headset. He's the key to stopping this, I'm sure of it. Let's go. Let's go here. Anyway, hello, Dexter. Our strategy is easy. Kill enemies, don't die. Yeah, it's super simple. Just kill the enemies and don't die. It couldn't be much simpler. Hope you're doing well today. Is there any way I can get in there right now? Maybe not. But yeah, when it came to the development of this game, mentioning how Ubisoft had to do something that Mario had never done before. This is the kind of game that they elected for. And as I was saying earlier, this is the kind of thing that should have absolutely been like an easy 5 out of 10 quick buck kind of game. Especially with like Ubisoft having like mixed results for a lot of their games. Like Rumblebee found new item if only there is somewhere you could check it out. So I guess that's a new weapon that we can equip there later. Like, Ubisoft is kind of famous for their games either being, like, really, really good or just being kind of like, it is what it is, I guess, you know? Like, that's the way that Ubisoft is a lot of the time. They have, like, very mixed results. Not always, but a lot of the time they do. So, with this being a Ubisoft game, I was worried before it came out that, like, oh, what if it's not that good? What if it's really not that fleshed out? But it seems very much like Ubisoft was like, okay, guys, this is probably, like, the one chance we're probably ever going to have to develop a Mario game. Like, what else are we gonna get the opportunity to develop a Mario game, you know? We need to really get our shit together for this one. And it seems like that is absolutely what they did. Like, they really got things together. And, oh my goodness, this is actually a really good game. I haven't played it in a very long time. I've been looking forward to starting it on the channel for a long time. And freaking Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope coming out next year is a good excuse to get through this since we go through things on the channel in order. And I'm so glad that this game did well enough to warrant getting a sequel. Like, that's actually really hype. I'm so looking forward to Sparks of Hope. But, yeah, that's essentially that. You got a free drink today, so you're very good. Well, that's good to hear. Do you have to go to bed very soon? So it sucks to see streaming in the late year time zone. That's understandable. Found new IMF there somewhere you can check it out. Yeah, and I can't be streaming for too long myself today because it's some semi-late night chilling that we're doing here. And I actually need to be getting some decent sleep for university days and whatnot. But today, Thursday, the day that I'm streaming it on, is my one day that I don't have university. I do tomorrow. And I was thinking about streaming earlier, but today became a bit of a work day where I do data entry stuff and database management stuff for the same university that I do school at, except for, you know, freaking research kind of stuff. So when I work from home, this is what my space kind of looks like. Like, I've got papers all across my keyboard. I got my calculator that I was using to crunch numbers just there. I've got a whole bunch of... I got a box full of binders back there. And I've had this going on in my room here for, like, a good while. Just jumping between different tasks to do with those. Right now, my current task that I'm working on that is, like, some scores have been entered incorrectly. Like some forms have been marked incorrectly, and I need to be the person that like double checks them all and fixes it, and I have literally no idea how to get into there. Hello Mortis. That's something I never thought I'd read there. Yeah, maybe everybody could do that in a way, I suppose. What's this? What's this? Oh, is this gonna shoot us that way? Those papers looks like your desk at work that you use like 1 day a year. Yeah, that's become my freaking that's an electric keyboard there. It's not like it's not meant to be a table space. It's not like this over to my side. Like, that's what I play music on, but I haven't gotten the chance to practice piano in like 3,000 years because of all this stuff over there. And one of the reasons that I wanted to do a stream today is also because my work stuff was stressful, and I'm gonna give a little bit of a story of my little work misadventure today. Greetings, sweet golden perennial of the prairie. We are... Why did you do that? Have that strange creature with the headset got here. Those guys have been nothing but bad news. I assure you, these rabbits are not like their colleagues. Oh, well, if you can stop him, I'll happily reward you. He's zapping his brethren left and right. Turns him real nasty. I don't suppose you would come with us to help. Sorry, folks, but it's time this flower took things underground. And then he's just out. World 1-2 flower bud. So yeah, my goodness. Think you'll lurk a bit while you're a Biblio scream or anything like that? Well, I shall certainly try, but no guarantees. I guess this isn't open right now. It's broken for now, though, considering how dangerous it is. I have a hard time believing the rabbits won't fix it. My goodness. Also, something that we will see a bunch in this playthrough is because Ubisoft figured this was probably their one chance to make a Mario game. There's a lot of things in this game that you would never see in, like, in a freaking Mario game. The ways that they make fun of Mario or make semi-bad kind of jokes in a few instances is the kind of thing that you would never see in an in-house Nintendo Mario game, and I'm honestly surprised Ubisoft was able to get away with it in this game, and I love it. Dear Beepo, if one is to prevail, one must practice. Please sharpen your movement skills so you can turn the tables on those rascally rabbits. I've just uploaded a few suggestions to help you guide your team in the next battle. Quick! Signed, your biggest fan. Well, there's that. No, I don't think there's any fourth wall breaks. There's plenty of references to other Mario games and such. Like, travel to couch just kicker the knee or something like that. Don't do that. You can deal damage while on the move by performing a dash. I've already been doing that. Also, you can cover more ground with a team jump. I've already been doing that. How about an epic combo after you dash an enemy, perform a team jump with an ally? I've already been doing that. So, what's been happening with, my works? How do I change the top bumpers? This is how I change allies, that it would seem. So what happened with work today is some of these scores have been added incorrectly on some of these forms, and a lot of them are surveys. And so one of these surveys is like essentially a measure of worry / calmness for various patients. And so there will be several questions that are like, how, like, a scale of 1 to 4, how worried are you? How anxious are you? How at ease do you feel? Like, how comfortable do you feel? Stuff like that. So there's a mix of, like, positive and negative kind of stuff all throughout this. There's, like, 10 of each, and they're all, like, mixed together pretty evenly. Wait, I guess I'm not getting that guy right now. Unless I do this, and then I go ahead and do this, and then we go over here, and we do this. So the movement in this game is actually hellish nice, honestly. I used to be a streamer like you, then I took a kick to the knee. But a lot of these were added incorrectly. And I was like, oh, why did some people come to the incorrect answers? Because you have to add the calmness rating and the, you know, anxious rating separately, essentially. And I guess I'll go over here. I can't stomp right now. Yeah, I can't stomp right now. They have to be added separately, and they were added separately, but the calmness ones have to be like reversed. So every 1 you add as a 4, every 2 you add as a 3, every 3 you add as a 2, and every 4 you add as a 1. So essentially, like if someone rates that they're like really, really anxious and gets like a 4 on that, but they, you know, rate that they're not so calm at a 1, then that'll also become a 4, and you see that the results are super similar, and it's like, okay, this person's paying attention and is, you know, staying consistent in their answers. So because of that, when the scores are like close together, you can tell where it's like, okay, yeah, this is pretty accurate data. But if somebody says that they're like hella anxious, and they're also like at the same time super duper calm, it's like, what? That doesn't make sense. So their data might not quite be as credible, you know? So there's that. And I was wondering why are like some of these added incorrectly. And I was calculating it out, and I found that the ones that you add up normally was the correct score, but the ones that you needed to reverse weren't. Because whoever scored it, apparently, did not reverse the items that were supposed to be reversed. Like, they just added it up normally, which resulted in these numbers being, like, vastly different from one another when they should have been very similar to one another for most patients. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll just add them up the way that they were supposed to with, like, the reverse scores. But then the problem arose where, like, some of these patients had a form where, here's this thing, Bob. Some of them had a form that said, like, what the scores were, but it didn't actually have, like, the questionnaire sheet. Like, so I couldn't actually take a calculator and add it up myself to find out what the answer was. All I had was, like, the incorrect score that hadn't been reversed. So I got to thinking, is there an algorithm that I can put together that calculates the correct scoring, like what it's supposed to be reversed, with the only input value being, you know, the incorrect kind of thing, with it being added, not being reversed? So I had a bit of a think, and I found the answer to that. I found out the answer was yes. It turns out if you take the unreversed score, and since the only options are like 1, 2, 3, or 4 for each of these things, if you reduce it to 0 using a combination of 10 of 1, 2, 3s, or 4, since there's like 10 questions there. So if you manage to reduce it all the way to 0 by subtracting 10 times, and it's any combination of 1, 2, 3, or 4, then you now have like a set of 1, 2s, 3s, and 4s that add up to that number. So then you just reverse those. Like 1s become 4s, 2s become 3s, 3s become 2s, and 4s become 1s. And time to pull together everything you've done, a whole bunch of tutorial stuff. So with those now reverse numbers, you can now add those together, and you get the correct reverse score without actually needing the questionnaire. Because as it turns out, no matter what combination of numbers you use, it'll always add up correctly, is the thing. Like, it doesn't matter. It's always going to add up correctly there, interestingly enough. Let's see here. I might actually position Mario here so that we have, like, a better jump position, I suppose. Is what we'll do. So then I started wondering, with like my time studying computing science and writing algorithms, was it possible for me to write a program that did this entire process for me? And that's exactly what I did. So I spent several hours today putting together, and I wrote it on my laptop. I don't have like programming tools on my desktop right now ever since I reset my OS, but I have them on my laptop since that's what I take to university. So this is what I worked on today. I wrote a freaking, if it shows up here properly. So I wrote this Python program to essentially do this whole process for me, where it's like this took several hours of writing to work out all the bugs, where it takes an input value. It will, with that input value, it will first run it through my score reverser algorithm that I made, which has 10 numbers that each start at 1. So assume that each of them start at, so like assume that each of the questions is ticked as 1, for example. So then it then takes like the input score, let's say it's 27, and it subtracts 1 10 times for each of those numbers. Does that reduce to 0? The answer is no. Okay, add 1 to the first number, so now it subtracts 2 and 9 ones. Does that reduce it to 0? No. Okay, make the next one a 2, and so on until they're all 2s. Does that not work? Okay, turn them all to 3, and so on and so forth, until eventually it finds the right combination of numbers that reduce it to 0. So then it exports that as a list of 10 values, and is like, okay, this is the thing that reduces it to 0. It then flips all those so that every 1 becomes a 4, every 2 becomes a 3, every 3 becomes a 2, every 4 becomes a 1. And then it adds those all together to get to the reversed value. So for example, when I'd input 27, it would give me 23. When I input 38, it would give me 12. When I input 30, it gives me 20. When I input 39, it gives me 11. And so on and so forth. This was my algorithm that I freaking made earlier today to help with the correction process of fixing all the scores across this insane data set that I have over here, so I wouldn't have to calculate every single one by hand, to make the process a little bit easier, not just for myself, but like anybody that needed to do that in the future. So I made that, and I was proud of myself. I was like, whoa, I made this program that does this crazy process for me. Like, I was super happy with that. And then I found out, after looking at all the values, I found out literally like an hour ago that if I just take the reverse score, the unreversed score, and the reverse score answer that my algorithm pops out, every single time, it always adds up to 50. Every single time. Which means that all you have to do, if you have an unreversed score and you need the reverse score, you just need to take 50 and subtract that number, and then you get the answer you need. So I spent like 3 or 4 hours today working on a custom algorithm. Like, first of all, like figuring out, is it possible to, you know, make something that does that for me? And I reasoned it out and started doing it, and then I started writing the actual program, and then several hours later, I find out that freaking every single time I would add up to 50, so I just needed to take 50 and subtract it, and oh my goodness, I've literally lost my mind. So, that's the story of my little escapade with work earlier today. Me trying to be, like, hella smart and find, like, a much better workaround, and just proving myself to be dumb in the process, I guess. Anyway, hello, Jake Frost and Dom. Hope you both are doing well today. I may as well go for a pot shot here. Actually, wait, you're in the open, so I can go ahead and smackaroo you. Is what we could do. Oh, my goodness. So that's essentially what happened to me earlier today. Ah, darn you. How dare you. Ow, damage. So that's what happened to me. Think you semi-turned into an evil genius? Yeah, that's basically what happened. Like, my goodness. So there's that. On the upside, freaking whatever, I get paid hourly, so technically, I get freaking paid for the work that turns out didn't even matter, but it's still disheartening to have made something like so overcomplicated and crazy that is so simple at the end. Like, just input the number that you need reversed, and then it reverses it according to like the score sheet thingamabob that I was doing by hand with a calculator this whole time, only to find out that you can just subtract it from 50 and that gives you the same answer every time. So whoops. Hi, silly doggy. So, forgive the fact that there's a bazillion binders on the doggy cam right now. Forgive that. And the fact that I have, like, a couple bags in front of there, which is stuff that I've been taking to and from university. Hi. So there's that, essentially. I guess she's not ready to call it a night here yet, but probably will very soon, I suppose. That's probably what's going on. Oh, do you want up on the couch? You can go up there. Okay, maybe she is ready to call it a night. What other enemies are there? I think it's just these two, actually. I think is maybe all it is. Like, I can just dash through you to take you out and then go ahead and do this over here. But yeah, need Harmonia's evil alter ego. I know Mra as a fata or something. What? That, like, programs crazy freaking complex programs to do everything for me. Like, why do this myself when I can create a program that does it all for me like I thought I could do earlier today? And the answer was I couldn't. Also, I see Jake Frost redeeming time yourself out for 10 minutes. Well, I guess I'll see you in 10 minutes there, Jake Frost. What, you don't want to relax on the couch right now, silly doggy? Can you come over here? Come over here. Whoa, something's falling there. Hey, complete. And Doogie Cam can be here. Is what we can do. Something like that. There we go.